Bulldogs tomorrow. How's the week worked out? I mean, it looks at least you've got most of your troops available for a change.
Except for the guys who've got the major injuries. I think we've had a couple of COVID little scares this week, but all seems to be okay. And again, it's been a little bit disrupted with a couple of injuries and a couple of obviously minor injuries, but hopefully we'll go in tomorrow with the team that we've named.
What have you made of the Bulldogs? Obviously, they've a new coach, they've recruited a lot of new players. They're a different side, really, to what you've faced recently.
Well, Trent's been there for a little while now, a couple of years, I think. So, but certainly there's a lot of new players there. They recruited heavily in the off season, and I think you're seeing results of that. To be quite honest, I know they've only won the one game, but they were very unlucky last week. Against Manly, got beat by 1 point. So I think their defence has really improved on what they were doing last year, and some of the guys that have come into their side have made a real difference.
How have you sort of addressed the two golden point finishes in terms of getting a result in one and not the other? I guess the situations you don't want to find yourself in. You want to get the job done in the 80 normally.
Again, you don't. I don't think anyone I think the fans like games going to extra time. I'm not quite sure the two teams do, but I like to go 2 weeks in a row is fairly different. That doesn't happen too often, and I suppose we got one out of two, but you love to get the two. But we had opportunities last week to I don't know about ice the game, but we had we were in good positions to get in better positions, but we didn't. So there's a few things just that we need to work on. Without a doubt, all teams, I suppose, have got things to work on. But certainly, if we can control the ball a little bit better, that's going to help. I think when we get into a bit of rhythm, that we're looking okay, but we just can't seem to sustain that rhythm and with the ball, and that's something we've worked on hard this week.
It is a bit of a cliche about playing the 80 minutes, but that seems like something that Storm has prided itself on in your tenure. Is that something that you guys probably need to work? It's going to take a little bit of a while to work on to get that right, to make sure you are doing that consistently?
Consistently is one word. We need to be a lot better across the board at a few things. Being consistent at it. At times we're really good at it. At times we're not. But certainly like playing out the 80 minutes, we were behind. Then we got a late try last week to get into extra time. So like I say, there's just some things there that we've been aware of, obviously, for a couple of weeks, but we just need to nail it better for longer periods of time. And if we can do that, I think we can turn. This team can be a really good team.
You mentioned scoring 26 points is normally enough to get a win. Are you talking then about your attack, or is it your defence that needs to sort of tighten up a bit more, or a bit of both? Or?
I think there's a bit of both. As I said, we need to be consistent for longer periods of time, on both sides of the ball, and in just a couple of areas, defence, and a couple of areas, with the ball. So, but certainly, I think I made that point was, we trust our defence, or we'd like to think we trust our defence to, if we scored 24 points, that should be enough to win the game.
Having three different wingers, I think you've had, probably doesn't help in terms of that side.
Oh no, it's been it hasn't been ideal with the ins and outs that we've had, without a doubt, and not ins and outs during the week either. Like obviously with our first game, we lost a couple of guys early, and but again, at the end of the day, that happens to everybody. That happens in sport. It's a body contact sport, so things are going to happen like that. So we just need to make sure we can deal with that and just keep playing the footy that we need to play to win some games.
Josh Adokar, have you had any contact from him this week, or is he?
No, he's
quiet?
kept very quiet actually. Surprising. I thought I might have got a late night text or something, but no, I haven't heard from him. The week before, we've sort of sent a couple of messages, and I think the players have obviously been in touch with him, but I think he's been a bit quieter this week. So be interesting to see him after the game, or if happen to run into him before the game. But he's obviously one of our favourite guys here. He has been for years, and he's done a great job for us up here. But for the 80 minutes tomorrow, he's on the other side. So we'll talk to him before and after. But during, hopefully we can make it a tough afternoon for Jack and the Bulldogs.
Do you miss that laugh around the place, or?
No, I don't really miss it. I'd probably miss his. He's always got a smile on his face. I think that's what I like about Jack. That laugh he's got is that can piss you off every now and then. We do miss him without a doubt. He added a lot to our club, obviously on the field, but also off the field as well. He's a great guy, a great clubman to have around, but also a great player on the field. So he's certainly been missed, but I'm sure he's enjoying his time with the Bulldogs, and we've always wished him all the best, and we still feel that, except for the 80 minutes tomorrow.
You've produced some great wingers at the Storm. Do you have an order, I suppose, or is he right up there? I mean, do you just remember them all as?
Like I say,
their time.
I don't really write down how I rate wingers over my 19 years of coaching or whatever. So, but like I say, he's been obviously, he's a wonderful winger, but he's also, a great person to have around. He's always a bit of fun. He always keeps you on the edge of your seat and on your toes. So he's always great to have around.
Jesse Bromwich had some positive words for Billy Slater earlier in the week, saying that he could see him being a senior coach in NRL down the track. Could you possibly, does he have the requisite skills to do that? To possibly, when you step aside, would you possibly endorse him in taking this job? That'll be up to Billy. If he wants to do that. It's one thing. Obviously, coaching Origin's the first step in Bill's coaching career. Well, that's not his first step. He's been, since he's retired here, he comes in once a week or once a fortnight and helps out here, and he does a great job of that. He's a great student of the game, and he knows how to get his points across really clearly and honestly. Actually, that's what you really like about him. He's really honest about his opinions and his points of view. But obviously going into Origin, that's his first step, I suppose, as a head coach. Now, whether he wants to, further that by taking on an NRL job, which will take up a lot more time, obviously. Obviously, it'll be very hectic during Origin, but, you've got a bit more time to set things up each year, I'd imagine. So it's only 3 games a year, whereas you're going into, 24 games a year at least in the NRL. So whether Bill wants to do that, with his way of life now, he's obviously does a great job with Channel 9 and the commentating. So I know he's got a few things outside footy as well. So I'm sure he'd make a huge success of it if that's the way he wanted to go. But I'm not quite sure whether he wants to go that way as far as the real full-time coaching. You had a lengthy apprenticeship before you took the full-time job.
Yeah.
Do you think that's not necessarily a requirement, but that's really important to have a lot of experience before you just walk into a head coaching role?
I think for different people it's different circumstances. For me, I probably felt, well, I didn't know at the time, we're all in a hurry, but it was probably a good thing for me, to be quite honest, in the sort of person I am and the way I do things and handle things. I think for Bill, if he wanted to, because he's been in the game so long and been such a great player and played a lot of rep footy, so he played under a lot of coaches and that as well. So I think he probably wouldn't need as long as most people, as far as an apprenticeship goes. So, he starts in a different role with Origin this year, so it'll be interesting to see, how he goes with it, but how he handles it, the big part of it, you've got to enjoy you've got to enjoy parts of it. Obviously, you don't enjoy all of it, but you've got to enjoy parts of it. So, that'll be something for Bill to decide. But I'm sure if he wants to go that way, he'll be a huge success if he does.
Given now that you're going to be sticking around, has that changed the fact, like, do you have the final say on who's going to take the job? Whereas maybe in the past, if you were leaving, you wouldn't?
The job of head coach?
Yeah.
No, that won't be my choice. That'll be up to the board. So if they want my advice, like, I'm sure they'll ask, but no, that's not my, that won't be part of my job description to appoint the new coach. That'll be up to the board.
So, but does it need to be someone that you can work with? I would imagine.
No, not really. At the end of the day, I think I can work with anyone, but at the end of the day, as I said, that'll be up to the board. They'll decide that.
And just, I have one sort of from left field, but about the whole COVID thing, like when I guess you were lucky, like Harry got it, and you said that you've had brushes with it with the team and that. With the AFL, like you saw West Coast, pretty much they lost, 13 players or something, and they still had to play. Have you got advice of, is there a number that you guys can lose before the game gets called off, or?
I don't know. That's up to the NRL. I don't know what that is. The rule is at the moment we've got to have 24 players available on game day. So if we run out of players, if we need 25, 26, you've got a lot of people that've got COVID in your squad. So, like I say, that hasn't happened, in our game, and hopefully it won't happen in our game. But it's not to say that it won't. Like West Coast being in that position last week, that's it's obviously not good for the game. It's not good for them. But like I say, the rules that are in and the regulations and then the obligations of the team to go and play footy, because I think everyone realises it's all professional sports now is the TV rights are the big thing in our game, so they just want to roll out the game. So they'll do whatever they can to protect that, and like I say, the way that the NRL have seen to protect that is to have 24 players, being there and ready to go if something happens. And it's unfortunate for a lot of those guys because we've been struggling to get 24 players together, to be quite honest. But a lot of those guys are young guys that are in that squad, but not in the 17, and they're missing out on footy. Because the feeder teams are playing around the same time, or with our feeder teams being in Queensland, it's the travel's a real issue as well. So, it's not only sort of, making sure that that game's going to go ahead, but there's a lot of young guys missing out on playing footy and missing out on a lot of experience that, for them to be NRL players soon, that hurts them, and so it's just not ideal, but that's just the way it is.
I guess they haven't played much in the last 2 years either.
No, they haven't. No,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a real, like I say, I don't know whether the whole effect of that is coming out now. It might be 2 or 3 years down the track where we all get back to normal, but all of a sudden we've got a lot of players that are they haven't played much footy, which is obviously is going to hurt the quality of the game. But whether that happens or not, I'm not quite sure. But I just know with us last year, over the last couple of years, and even early this year, having to have the 24 available, there's a lot of guys missing out on footy, and a lot of those guys are young guys that need that experience because they're the players of the future.